Abba, you're the one returning to the embrace of death. Dugu said irritably, knocking Tang San on the head. From his expression, Tang San could tell that Dugu did not believe in the power of the Yen Wang Tai in Tang San's hand. Actually, even Tang San did not expect to be able to refine the Yen Wang Tai. As the third-ranked hidden weapon in the mysterious Heaven treasure record, how could he not be excited? In his previous life, anyone in the martial world would shiver at the mention of the pursuit soul-reaping Yen Wang Tai. To refine the Yen Wang Tai, Tang San used 49 precious herbs from around the ice and fire yin yang well, making its poison so potent that nothing could neutralize it. This black needle was not metal at all, but was entirely condensed from toxins. Once it entered the human body, it would immediately transform into a deadly poison and take effect instantly. Forget about antidotes, there wouldn't even be a chance to take one. Even severing a limb wouldn't help. Was the invitation from the King of Hell so easy to accept? However, the method to launch the Yen Wang Tai required a significant amount of internal power. Tang San calculated that with his current level of Shentian skill, he would need to reach at least the 40th level, and even then, he would only have the power for one shot. But that was enough. Although Tang San had never tested it, he was certain that even if he couldn't kill a very powerful opponent, as long as the Yen Wang Tai could pierce the skin, the opponent would be doomed. Carefully placing the jade box into the 24 moonlit bridges, Tang San thought to himself that it was only because of the ice and fire yin-yang well that he could find so many precious herbs. Unfortunately, the top two hidden weapons were not something that could be refined just with herbs. Regaining his composure, Tang San looked at Dugu. After half a year of treatment, Dugu's appearance had changed significantly. His once ghastly green hair had turned to normal gray, and except for his eyes, his greenish complexion had mostly faded. Half a year of taking medicine had relieved Dugu of the pain caused by toxin backlash. However, having had toxins in his body for so many years, it was almost impossible to cleanse them completely. Dugu was very satisfied with his current condition. He knew his own situation and was confident that using the same method, his granddaughter's poison could also be cured. Little monster, give it back to me," Dugu said, extending his right hand towards Tang San. Give what back?" Tang San asked, puzzled. My Dan bead, of course. Did you think you could keep it forever?" "I can't bear to part with it," Dugu replied. Tang San was a bit surprised. Aren't you afraid I might have poisoned your medicine?" Dugu snorted. My poison skill is now contained within my spirit bone. Just poisoning me wouldn't kill me. Even if that little needle of yours could harm a title Dolua, it wouldn't affect me. Now, give me back my Dan bead. Haven't you benefited enough? In just half a year, your spirit power has reached level 37. I'm worried you'll absorb all the essence from my Dan bead." Tang San smiled, knowing that Dugu, despite his tough exterior, no longer harbored ill intentions towards him. Over the past 6 months, Tang San had come to understand Dugu better. Though Dugu appeared fierce, he was not fundamentally bad. As long as one didn't threaten him or provoke him, he wouldn't cause trouble. Take it. To be honest, I am a bit reluctant to part with it." Tang San smiled at Dugu and opened his arms. Dugu stepped forward, raised his hand towards Tang San's abdomen, and a surge of heat made Tang San's Dantian contract. With a pull from Dugu's hand, a bead-emitting green light flew out of Tang San's mouth and into Dugu's palm. Tang San felt a sense of relief despite feeling a bit empty. The problem that had threatened his life for half a year was finally resolved. Even Tang San had no way to deal with Dugu's Dan bead. Little monster, my poison is almost cured. Recently, I've noticed that the effect of your medicine has diminished. I know my body has accumulated too much poison, which I cannot entirely transfer to my spirit bone. Besides, my body has adapted to the poison to some extent. If it's completely gone, it might actually be harmful. Let's stop here. I'll bring your teachers and my granddaughter over, and you can cure her. Then you can leave. You're letting me go? Tang San looked at Dugubo, feeling a bit reluctant. Was it because of the precious herbs around the ice and fire yin yang well? Perhaps, but not entirely. Dugubo's expression was a bit desolate. You're still so young. I can't keep you here forever. If only you were a bit older, I'd marry my beautiful granddaughter to you. Then you'd have to call me Grandpa. Tang San shook his head helplessly. Forget it. Your granddaughter has inherited your fine traditions. Besides, she already has a lover. The heir of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan is much better than me. A boy, are you trying to provoke me? The Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan is strong, but compared to your background, it's nothing. Moreover, Yu Tianheng is good, but he's still not as good as you. In my background. Tang San was taken aback and unconsciously thought of his father, who he hadn't seen or heard from in years. He sighed. What background do I have? I'm just a blacksmith's son. Dugubo was also taken aback. Over the past 6 months, he had learned a lot about Tang San and could see from his expression that he wasn't pretending. Kid, tell me about your past. Dugubo pulled Tang San to sit by the ice and fire yin yang well. Tang San nodded. Besides the greatest secret of his transmigration, there was nothing to hide about his life in this world. So, he began from his childhood, talking about his innate full spirit power, his twin martial spirits, his apprenticeship under the master, his entry into Shrek Academy, and everything that happened afterwards in detail. Listening carefully, Dugubo was greatly surprised. Although he still believed Tang San was the son of that person, he hadn't expected Tang San's childhood to be like this. Where did you learn your poison skills? Just picking up a book and gaining such mastery? I don't believe it. Tang San chuckled. Believe it or not. It's a secret, I won't tell you. Dugubo snorted. Fine, don't tell me. Here, take this. He handed Tang San a blue pouch. The pouch was only the size of 2 palms, meant to be worn on a belt, larger than a sachet, but only big enough to fit a hand. What's this? A bribe. Tang San took the blue pouch, recognizing it as a spirit tool. I already have the 24 moonlit bridges from my teacher. You should keep this, or give it to your granddaughter. Dugubo shook his head. No, this is different. My granddaughter doesn't like dealing with herbs. This is the Rui 100 treasure pouch. Your spirit tool is good, but this one is better. It can store living things. Tang San, being smart, immediately understood. He whistled softly, and a green figure darted out of his chest into his palm. It was the 5-inch-long 9-section jadeite. After half a year, the 9-section jadeite had changed significantly. Its size remained the same, but its eyes were more crystal clear, and its body almost transparent, resembling a jade sculpture with faint red and white streams flowing inside. So this little thing can be stored inside without suffocating? Tang San was delighted. A spirit tool that could store living things was vastly different from his 24 moonlit bridges. He could store herbs fresh inside, negating the need to refine all herbs into pills. Fresh herbs were often more effective. Seeing Tang San's delight, Dugubo smiled. You said you didn't want it, right? Give it back then. He reached out towards Tang San. Spending so much time with Dugubo had rubbed off on Tang San. He unceremoniously hung the Rui 100 treasure pouch alongside the 24 moonlit bridges. Did I say that? I don't remember. Asking for something back after giving it away, and you're a titled Dolua. Dugubo snorted. Anyway, it's just you and me here. What's so special about a titled Dolua? Titled Doluos are still human. I promised you that if you could cure my poison, I would do 3 things for you. You've already stated the first one, not to harm anyone from Shrek Academy. I gave you this 100 treasures pouch. Doesn't that count as the second one? Tang San blinked at Dugu Bo, appearing somewhat naive as he looked at the poison Doluo in front of him. Old monster, you were the one who insisted on giving it to me just now. Did I ask for it? You. Dugu Bo was momentarily speechless with anger, but he couldn't do anything about the Tang San in front of him. Tang San smiled slightly, reached to his waist, flipped his wrist, and extended his palm to Dugu Bo. Although the 100 treasures pouch doesn't count as one of the conditions, I can't just take your things for nothing. Consider this a return gift. Dugu Bo looked at Tang San's palm and saw a pair of small iron balls lying there quietly. The iron balls were entirely black, without any noticeable features. What is this? Poison? Or medicine? Dugu Bo sniffed but didn't smell anything, so he asked curiously. Tang San laughed. Can't you see? These are just 2 iron balls. They're not any kind of medicine. Old monster, can't you even tell the difference between medicine and metal? Dugu Bo widened his eyes. Are you saying these 2 things can compare with my 100 treasures pouch? Tang San replied, why not? They can save your life. Dugu Bo snorted disdainfully. Little monster, is something wrong with your brain? I am a titled Doluo. There are very few people in this world who can defeat me, and those few are incredibly strong. What could these 2 iron balls possibly do to them? Tang San said, you don't believe me? Alright then, I don't want to give them to you anyway. As he spoke, he was about to take back the iron balls. A flash of green light, and before Tang San could turn his wrist, the 2 iron balls had already landed in Dugu Bo's hand. Taking back something you've given out? Have some shame. Tell me, what do these things do? Dugu Bo looked at the 2 iron balls in his hand from different angles, but couldn't figure out anything special about them. He picked one up with his other hand, intending to test its strength, but was hurriedly stopped by Tang San. Are you trying to die? Don't squeeze it. Tang San grabbed Dugu Bo's wrist. Although his strength was nothing to Dugu Bo still trusted him and quickly relaxed his grip. What are you doing? Mysterious and secretive, just tell me what this thing is. Dugu Bo asked impatiently. His curiosity was no different from that of ordinary people. Although he showed disdain on the surface, he was very confident in anything Tang San made. If this little monster could give it to him, it must not be something ordinary. Tang San then solemnly said, this item is called the Mother-Son Soul-Chasing Life-Snatching Balls. It is currently the most domineering hidden weapon I have made. You must be very careful with it. Once it is subjected to excessive external pressure or impact, its power will immediately manifest. These things are used in pairs. They need to be launched with the meteor-chasing moon technique. Its direct power may not be enough to harm a titled Doluo, but the sudden nature of its attack combined with your strength is enough to stop any enemy. Its greatest feature is that the higher the user's inner, spirit power, the stronger the power. These 2 little things have such power? Dugu Bo was still somewhat skeptical. Tang San said, I'll show you. As he spoke, he took back the 2 iron balls from Dugu Bo's hand, weighed them slightly in his hand, and said, watch carefully. As he spoke, white light flickered on Tang San's body. His wrist shook, and the 2 iron balls flew out simultaneously. Although they flew out at the same time, the 2 iron balls had different speeds. Just as the front one seemed to be slowing down, the back one suddenly caught up and directly hit the one in front. With a bang, a large cloud of purple mist spread out, instantly covering an area of over 10 square meters. Dugu Bo, with his keen eyesight, clearly saw countless black threads accompanied by a dense buzzing sound flash within the purple mist. In the blink of an eye, they had embedded themselves into the nearby mountain wall. Tang San explained, the term Mother-Son refers to the iron ball itself and the attack it unleashes upon explosion. This purple mist is highly toxic with strong anesthetic properties. Just a small inhalation can make an ordinary person sleep for 10 days. Even powerful spirit masters, if caught off guard, will find their speed greatly reduced. After the mother-son soul-chasing life-snatching balls collide, the suns inside will burst out. These are hundreds of bone-melting needles, designed to penetrate protective barriers and are extremely poisonous. Once struck, the poison quickly spreads, turning bones into cotton where it passes. The mother-son soul-chasing life-snatching balls were created by Tang San during his seclusion at Shrek Academy. They combine mechanical and hand-launched hidden weapon technologies, and are ranked 5th among mechanical hidden weapons. When he was at Tang Sect, Tang San was responsible for making them, and it was thanks to this that he was considered one of the top Outer Sect disciples. Tang San made a total of 18 of these, which is 9 pairs. Originally, they were made without poison due to a lack of materials, but after arriving here and with the abundant rare herbs, the mother-son soul-chasing life-snatching balls were finally completed. Thanks to the abundance of top-quality herbs here, the bone-melting needles inside these balls were even better than the ones he made in his previous life. In a flash, Dugubo was at the mountain wall penetrated by the bone-melting needles. Seeing the scene, he couldn't help but gasp. Countless small black holes appeared on the wall, each penetrating several feet deep, with faint blue smoke rising from them. Just from the smell, he could judge the terrifying poison. Facing away from Tang San, Dugubo couldn't help but praise, "You little monster, I don't know if I should call you a genius or a madman. You even made something like this. I really don't know how your brain works. But from the strength of this attack, it seems far from enough. Forget titled Dolua, even a spirit master at level 60 or 70 could withstand this." Tang San retorted, Old monster, how many levels am I?" Dugubo turned back, "30-something, not even 40. Tang San said, "I mentioned earlier, the higher the spirit power when using this, the greater the power. That means the mother-son soul-chasing life-snatching balls will move faster and the bone-melting needles will penetrate deeper with stronger spirit power. Unless you encounter a purely defensive titled Dolua, shouldn't your spirit power be enough to harm the enemy? Even if the opponent uses spirit power to block and prevent them from colliding, the moment they encounter external force, they will explode. The key to their power lies in their suddenness. The more unexpected the use, the greater the chance of destroying the opponent." Dugubo's eyes lit up as he fully understood Tang San's meaning, and he was overjoyed. Indeed, not bad. Little monster, quickly give me 180 of these." Tang San was speechless. Do you think these are candy? 180? I only made 2, and I used them for demonstration. Who told you not to believe me? What? Only 2. Dugubo's eyes widened. Are you deliberately trying to anger me? You only made 2 and still used one for testing. Couldn't you just explain it to me? Tang San laughed. Seeing is believing. Would you have believed it without seeing it yourself? All right, actually, I made 4. I'll give you 2 more. This time, make sure to keep them safe. As he spoke, he waved his hand, and 2 iron balls flew towards Dugubo. Dugubo, having just witnessed the power of the mother-son soul chasing life-snatching balls, though not fearing them with his strength, was still startled. Little monster, are you trying to kill me?" Dugubo hastily activated his spirit power, forming a barrier in front of him. However, the launch method of these 2 iron balls was completely different from before. Just before reaching Dugubo, they paused in mid-air and then fell to the ground. Dugubo reached out and caught the 2 iron balls in his hand. Inwardly, he praised Tang San's skill. Though Tang San's overall strength was far less than his own, his techniques were quite outstanding. Given time, Tang San's future achievements might surpass his own. Although in terms of value, The two mother-son soul-chasing life-snatching balls were clearly not as valuable as the 100 treasures pouch. From a life-saving perspective, they were more useful to Dugubo. Putting away the two iron balls, Dugubo faced the ice and fire yin-yang well with his hands behind his back. "A little monster, when do you plan to treat my granddaughter's poison?" Tang San was taken aback. Dugubo's question also implied. Old monster, do you really want me to leave?" Tang San looked at Dugubo's somewhat lonely back. Dugubo replied calmly, Do you think I can keep you here forever? The outside world offers a much broader space. That's where you should be. Without enough experience, how can you expect to become a titled Doluo in the future?" He did not hide his appreciation for Tang San at all. If it weren't for their significant age difference, this might have been called mutual respect. The air seemed to thicken as neither Tang San nor Dugubo spoke. Tang San didn't answer Dugubo's question. Instead, he walked to his side and stood still, looking at the ice and fire yin-yang well before him, frowning slightly, and quietly contemplating. After a long while, Tang San's frown suddenly relaxed as if he had figured something out. He looked at Dugubo with confidence. Old monster, you still owe me 2 more things, right?" Dugubo nodded. I always keep my word. As long as it doesn't go against my principles, I'll agree to it. Tang San chuckled. All right, I've already thought of the other 2 things." Thought of them already?" Dugubo frowned deeply, thinking to himself, this brat, does he know how important these 3 promises are? With my strength as a titled Doluo, there are few things in this world I can't accomplish. Tang San nodded, his gaze shifting to the herbs around the ice and fire yin-yang well. My second condition is that I want to take the herbs I need from here, and you can't stop me." That's it." Dugubo looked at Tang San with exasperation. Although the herbs around the ice and fire yin-yang well were precious, they were not that important to someone like him who had reached the peak of titled Doluo strength. He had already tacitly allowed Tang San to take any herbs he wanted by giving him the Wishful 100 treasures pouch. Tang San asked, So, do you agree?" I agree. Why wouldn't I agree to something so simple?" Dugubo said indifferently, also hinting to Tang San not to waste his conditions lightly. "Even if you don't use them now, it's better to keep them for later." Tang San thoughtfully said, This one is too simple. The next condition might be a bit difficult. I wonder if you can do it." Dugubo proudly replied, What could possibly be difficult for me?" Tang San tentatively asked, So, you're saying you agree?" Dugubo, not being an impulsive young man and being extremely cunning, would never easily promise anything. Tell me your condition first." Tang San smiled. Actually, it's quite simple. Our Shrek Academy's faculty is rather weak and we need someone to hold the fort. My third condition is to invite you to be a senior advisor at our Shrek Academy." In no way. Dugubo flatly refused before Tang San could finish. I value my freedom the most. This is a matter of principle. I can't agree to that. You want me to be a bodyguard? Even the Heaven Do Empire's royal family can't restrict me." Tang San retorted, Who's restricting you? You can come and go as you please. It's just a title. At least this way, I can meet you openly. I'm not asking you to be an advisor for life. Once I graduate, you can do whatever you want. Who would dare to stop you?" Dugubo was stunned for a moment, looking down at Tang San. Tang San also looked up at him, with an expression that Dugubo had never seen before, 3 parts hope and 7 parts pleading. Just a title?" Dugubo asked with a hint of doubt. Tang San quickly nodded, of course. Do you think anyone can control a titled Doluo? If you have the time and are willing to guide us, I wouldn't object. Dugubo snorted, You need my guidance? It would be good enough if you don't come and guide me instead. Tang San rejoiced, So, you're agreeing? Dugubo showed a faint smile. As long as your teachers don't kick me out of the academy, I'll do it. Let's go. Go. Where to? Tang-san asked, puzzled. Dugubo said, I don't procrastinate. Since I agreed to be an advisor, I'll take you back now and bring my granddaughter over for you to treat. Tang-san was also in a good mood as he could continue being with Dugubo. He laughed and said, no rush. Didn't you agree to my second condition? I still need to take some herbs from here, and it will take time to organize them. I've lived here for half a year. A few more days won't matter. Give me 3 days, and then we'll return to the academy. 3 days later. You little brat, I'll kill you. Dugubo roared in anger, raising his hand to strike Tang-san. Tang-san quickly used his ghost shadow perplexing track to dodge. Old monster, you said I could take whatever I wanted without specifying the amount. Besides, I left the roots and seeds. In a few years, they'll grow back. And your Wishful 100 treasures pouch is really handy. It was no wonder Dugubo was so furious. He had spent the past 3 days cultivating in the cave, and when he came to the ice and fire yin-yang well to take Tang-san away, he found his treasured place thoroughly ransacked. How could he not be angry? The originally lush botanical garden was now a mess, as if it had been plowed. Everywhere there was turned-up soil, and not a hint of green remained. Seeing this scene, Dugubo couldn't help but be enraged. Tang-san complained, old monster, you agreed to let me take whatever I wanted without specifying the amount. I just chose to take it all. Don't worry. I didn't touch the ice and fire yin-yang well. With its nourishment, this place will be lush again in a few decades. What he didn't say was that those celestial herbs would take centuries to regrow even in the ice and fire yin-yang well. You'll be the death of me, you little monster. Dugubo was so angry he couldn't speak. Even though those herbs weren't of much use to him, they had accompanied him for decades, and how could he not feel attached to them? Tang-san tentatively asked, shall we go? Dugubo glared at him, let's go. Without another word, he soared into the air, heading for the mountain top. Tang-san quickly released his 8 spider lances and swiftly followed Dugubo. Although the Sunset Forest had many powerful soul beasts, none dared approach Dugubo, who had lived there for years and whose aura was well known to them. Tang-san followed Dugubo out of the forest without encountering any soul beasts. To avoid drawing attention, Tang-san retracted his 8 spider lances once they left the Sunset Forest and followed Dugubo, using his ghost shadow perplexing track. He knew he had overdone it, but those top-quality herbs were invaluable and hard to come by. And with the Wishful 100 treasures pouch to preserve them, he couldn't resist taking them all. Along the way, Tang-san didn't dare provoke Dugubo further, and Dugubo ignored him, so they traveled in silence back to Heavendo City. Due to most of the poison in his body being integrated into his spirit bone, Dugubo's appearance was no longer as striking, so they didn't attract much attention as they entered the city. Once inside, the old monster stopped, glanced at the panting Tang-san behind him, and said, little monster, lead the way. Tang-san sidled up to Dugubo, chuckling softly, old monster, you're not mad anymore? Dugubo glared at him, I always keep my word. But remember this, you brat. This is the only time. Don't expect it to happen again. Tang-san quickly nodded in agreement, secretly amused. Even if he wanted to do it again, it would take decades. The old monster was clearly giving himself a way out. Seeing Dugubo's anger subside, Tang-san quickly led the way to what was formerly Blue Tyrant Academy, now Shrek Academy. As they walked, Tang-san couldn't help but say to Dugubo, old monster, you actually fit in well at our academy. Shrek Academy is also known as the Monster Academy. An old monster teaching little monsters. Isn't that great? Great, my foot. Dugubo knocked Tang-san on the head. He was much taller than Tang-san, who was about 1.7 meters tall. Tang San winced in pain. If you knock my smart brain silly, who will detoxify your granddaughter? Dugu Bo's expression softened as he thought of something, and he looked at Tang San with a growing smile. For Tang San, he would rather see Dugu Bo's stern face than his smile. It gave him chills. Old monster, what are you smiling at?